Today's number is 2, and that is the number of people who cared enough to tell me something I didn't want to hear yesterday, and trusted me enough to know I would do the right thing. That is rarer than most people realize, and I gotta tell you, after this is, I don't know, take 100, that is gonna come into play later. Today comes down to two things that all come down to the same principle. The people who tell you the truth before you need to hear it are the most valuable people in your life, and how those people are helping me daily with decisions I have to make, especially when it's hard in this business. But before I get to that, my name is Ryan, and I started the TCG business with over $1 million in debt. I'm here to turn cardboard into cash and move from dire straits into distro. Every episode, I go over the ups and downs of growing a TCG business and what I accomplished on the previous day. If watching someone grow their business in this space sounds interesting to you, hit the subscribe button to follow along. And comment below to tell me about a time when someone told you a hard truth and how it changed things for you. Now let's start with pricing. Now that the playable lot is paid off, mostly the higher ticket items are moved. The question I'm sitting with today is whether I drop my floor to create sales velocity. When the inventory that was driving the big margin is gone, do you hold the floor or wait for it to rise? Or do you lower it and let the volume do the work? Here's exactly what I'm wrestling. Option 1, drop the floor across the board. Simple, fast, it creates a quick flush of inventory, cards move, cash comes in, and the velocity number goes up. But I'm leaving value on the table. The cards that are worth more don't get a chance to earn what they're actually worth. I flush everything at the same rate and margin suffers for it. That's the trade, speed versus maximum value. Option 2, and this is where it gets interesting, my friend Loomis built a system that I keep talking about in the beta test that lets me create pricing rules, not unlike mass price, but differently set. Not just a blanket floor, actual rules. All cards under 25 cents get listed at 25 cents. All cards between 25 cents and 40 cents get listed at 40 cents, which is right at the TCGplayer Direct pricing. That helps me keep competitive rates at the low end without racing to the bottom. And here's why it matters. TCGplayer Direct is the floor market already is shopping at least in my opinion. If I'm at or near that price, I'm not fighting against the algorithm. I'm working with it. Orders come because I'm priced where buyers are already looking. But here's the catch. The moment I move to a rules-based pricing, I lose real-time dynamic pricing. The market moves. A car that was 30 cents today might be 55 cents in 3 days because of my tournament results or something. If my rules say list everything under 25 cents at 25 cents, I may be underpricing something that just spiked because I had to do it manually. So the rules need to be updated regularly, and that's a labor cost. That's time, and that is one thing I can't make more of right now. The upside, however, and this is real, is that rules-based pricing lets me be surgical. I can drop the floor where it makes sense and hold the higher floors in the other areas. I don't have to treat the entire inventory the same way. Cards with real upside stay protected. Cards that are just clogging the pipeline get moved, and that's not just flush, that's a strategy. I haven't landed yet, but that's the math. And I think that every time I look at the listing queue, it challenges me with what am I going to do. I do have some concept of where I probably will head, and I'm going to talk with Loomis this evening to try to work within the system a little bit more because there's one or two tweaks I want to make. But ultimately, this is a decision I have to make and make it soon. While it's happening, my floor prices remain and things are still moving, but I do want to see where if I could move things faster and get cash flow up, if that's going to be more viable in the long run. Now, the harder story. After much excitement about bringing on someone to help with the multitude of things in the social media space, I had conversations with two people I trust and respect. They both gave me cautionary notes on how the perceived contract looked, not out of malice, but out of care. They understood the importance of what I was building and what I was trying to do, but they saw things I hadn't seen clearly enough yet. Now, ironically, they both saw it very differently. One saw it as, I was Ebenezer Scrooge, and the other said, I don't think it's quite that, potentially, but the reality was, he was more worried that she didn't know what she was getting into, or if she did, then she was accepting it and that would be perfectly fine. On the other hand, my first friend in this case was saying there's almost no world in which I would accept this or ask somebody else to accept this. She's going to view this video. We've had this conversation. That's where I really want to talk about things. But ultimately, I can't tell you how disappointed, but also how grateful I was at the same time. Disappointed because I was genuinely excited about the future. Proud of the arrangement we had come to. I believed in it. I still believe in the vision behind it. Grateful because a friend trusted me enough with the truth and gave me the opportunity to not be visited by the ghosts of Christmas future. Here's what the real issue came down to. The workload around the very things we both believe will push the business forward fastest, and how the workload aligns with compensation plan. Now, Sarah was gracious in understanding that this is a business in its infancy, and what that could mean in terms of reality of cash flows. We took the time to really sit down and talk through all of it, and the conversation I had with my friend the other day helped guide me in the discussion in ways that I didn't expect. And here's what she said. I want you to hear this ultimately, that this was a major green flag. Now, I had never heard that term at me in real life, but I understood it. Ultimately, she said, while it may mean some changes, it was not something to derail us entirely, in large part because of this honesty. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Honesty didn't break us. Honesty protected it. Whatever shape this takes next, we go into it with clear eyes and real trust, and that is worth more than any contract clause. Now, I did say earlier that I had been paying attention to the market space, especially around playables. This week I watched regionals. I had it on in the background while I was sifting, and last night I was wanted to talk about it for a second because as a Magic player, for years, watching Pokemon regionals is a completely different experience. In Magic, you're track stacking, interactions, card advantages, resource management across multiple phases. You're dealing with things on the stack. And Pokemon is a competition at a fast level. The combos land in what almost feels like an instantaneous reaction, but there's almost a different strategy because you're not able to interact on another person's turn. Now, watching how people built and played their decks, what cards they relied on, and the winning lines looked like, that is directly relevant to what I'm listing and how I'm pricing. That market flows into the meta, and I need to know that always. Yesterday in the business, three things. First, packed 11 orders and shipped them out. The playable push continues. Second, watch the regionals like I just discussed. Fun to see the very competitive scene. Very different, like I said, to the Magic player that I've been for the last 30 years. And third, I had a real hard conversation, like I said, with a friend, the one I talked to about the contract, and then other one who I sort of had the conversation afterwards to say, like, hey, what do you think as well? Just get another voice in there. It needed to happen. I'm glad it did, and I'm better for it. Now, here's where I'm headed. The pricing floor decision, like I said, is still being worked. I'll land on something this week. I'll share it when I do. The Sarah conversation is continuing. We're going with eyes wide open. Whatever shape this takes next, it will be the right shape. The backlog is moving, the team is stabilizing, and the operation is finding its rhythm. And as always, be good or be good at it, and I will see you next time.